I have to give my students assignments to get bored, to go get bored.
What do they do?
They have to work out without headphones. They have to drive in silence. They have to take a 1-hour walk, half of that time before dawn, the other half after dawn.
Yeah.
For all kinds of neurophysiological properties. Your brain works better when you actually see the sunrise. It's one of the things that I teach. Without headphones, without sound, in the space of your thoughts. And within 2 weeks, they start understanding, yeah, I don't like the boredom, but I sure like what it's bringing me.
Hey there, everyone. Craig Melvin here, and welcome to this latest edition of Glass Half Full. Our guest today, you probably know Arthur Brooks, a New York Times bestselling author, Harvard professor. He is an expert on happiness. He's done a lot of research, looked at a lot of data, and sort of devoted his life to studying the heart and the mind. So you know what we do here. We focus on the moments that define people's lives personally and professionally. We do that with Arthur Brooks, but we also spend a lot of time talking about the things that make us happy and the things that don't really make us happy. I hope you enjoy this edition of Glass Half Full. Arthur Brooks, welcome to Glass Half Full.
Thank you, Craig. What a delight to be with. Congratulations on your, was a new show.
Yeah.
How new now? Just a few episodes in.
A few episodes.
Yeah.
But when I found out that you were available, I was like, Arthur Brooks, I've been reading him for years. So this is a treat. Thank you for being here.
Delighted.
We always start the show with asking a very simple question. Are you a glass half full person or a glass half empty person? You're one of the few I can probably guess.
Tell me, what's your guess?
Your new book is called The Meaning of Your Life.
Yeah.
You've written about happiness for years.
Yeah.
You got to be a glass half full guy, right?
Well, here's the thing. The reason I write about happiness is because I want to be a glass half full guy. I know everybody who studies the science of happiness in the world, practically. It's not that big a community. It's not research, it's me-search. There's a reason they're studying that. I'm married to a very happy woman.
Okay.
Like on 1 to 10, she's like 9. And when I said, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to studying happiness, she said, why? It's like studying air. It's all around us. I said, spend some time in here and you'll see.
Yeah.
So the truth of the matter is I come from gloomy stock. Half of your happiness is genetic. My parents were gloomy. I want it. I can find the secrets to it. I want to be more like you is the bottom line.
Wait a minute. So you're a glass half empty guy.
Naturally.
At your core.
Naturally, but I don't have to be that. I don't have to be a glass half empty guy. The message of my entire body of work, of my career, my research, my mission in life is to tell all the half empty people out there that they can be half full.
That was an excellent distilling of your body of work, actually.
Thank you.
Now that you mention it. Actually, a bit taken aback because I think I just assumed that you were going to be,
Yeah.
I'm optimistic. Yeah, I'm
I
happy.
choose to be so.
But you work at it.
I do. It's an effort. Absolutely.
Was there a moment, we like to talk about the moments that really shape who we are professionally, who we are personally on the show. Was there a moment, looking back on your life, was there a moment where you had this sort of, as your friend Oprah would say, an aha moment where you're like, you know what? I really need to spend some time on this.
For sure. And I mean, I've been a behavioral scientist for a long time. I got my PhD almost 30 years ago. And I've always been interested in the humans. Before that, I was a musician. I was a classical musician for all the way through my 20s. I took a gap decade from college, and I finished college about 30. And then I realized what I wanted to do was study social science and behavior, et cetera, beauty, philanthropy. And I only came to happiness because that was the taproot of all the things that people want a little bit later because of an experience, an actual experience that I had. And I actually opened a book that I wrote in 2022 with this because it was such a big epiphany for me. I was on a plane, because I'm always on a plane. We're all on planes a lot. And I heard a conversation behind me in the row behind me. It was nighttime, and so it was dark.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see. I couldn't really make out faces, and I wasn't trying to eavesdrop because that would be indiscreet.
Right.
But I got to tell you, my laboratory as a researcher is overheard conversations. That's really where I get all my ideas. So, I mean, if you're confessing to somebody that somebody broke your heart, you're in the Starbucks line behind me, you should keep your voice down. It might be my next book. So I heard a couple, and I could tell they were old.
Yeah.
Man and a woman, and I couldn't quite make out his words. He was sort of mumbling, but her voice was very penetrating and coming right through the seats. So I could hear this one-sided thing. And he says, her, and she says, oh, don't say it would be better if you were dead. I'm like, whoa. And then he mumbles a little bit more, and she says, it's not true that nobody remembers you. Nobody cares about you anymore. And I thought, okay, who's the guy? Well, you know who he's not? It's not you. I mean, everything you've always wanted, your dreams have come true. Because the world tells you if you want to be happy when you're old, you work hard and play by the rules and succeed like crazy and bank it and die happy. That's what the world tells you,
Yeah,
right?
it does.
Okay, so it made sense to me, and their conversation finished, and I went back to whatever I was doing. And at the end of the flight, we landed in Washington, D.C., which is where I was living at the time. And the lights come on, and we stand up, and I turn around. I want to get a little glimpse as a social scientist of the sad man, disconsolate gentleman.
Yeah.
It's one of the most famous men in the world. This is somebody that everybody watching and listening to us right now knows. Not personally, he's one of the most famous men in the world. And not for stupid things. He's not a politician,
Right.
or it's not trivial. This guy's a hero. He changed the course of human history with a small group of people in the 60s and 70s. And I heard him telling his wife he might as well be dead. And I thought to myself, man, you got to figure this out, because I was on the wrong path. I was running a company at the time. I'd taken 10 or 11 years off of academia to be the CEO of a company, and I wasn't happy, and I didn't know where my life was going. And so I went home and I told my wife Esther, I said, honey, I overheard this conversation. And she said, tell me. And I told her. She said, who was it? And I told her, and she said, huh. I said, yeah, huh. You know what I don't want in 30 years is to be on a plane with you having that conversation. She said, so figure it out. You've got a PhD, don't you? And I said, yeah. She said, use it for something truly useful. Figure it out. And so I went to work, and I spent 5 years trying to figure out the trajectory of how somebody could truly study the neuroscience and social science of happiness, put it into habits that any person on the planet can use, and then how we can all be teachers to lift other people up. And I think I cracked the code.
Why does it seem that happiness is so elusive
Yeah.
for so many, especially it would seem like right now. It does seem more elusive now than perhaps it used to be 15, 20 years ago.
So it's two questions. Number one is why has everybody wanted it for all of time and found it hard to get? And now why is it harder than it's ever been? So the first question, the answer to the question is people don't know what it is. They're looking for the wrong thing. If you ask people what's happiness, they'll talk about their feelings. Well, I can't put it into words, but I know when I feel it, right?
Yeah.
Or it's how I feel when I'm with the people that I love. And that's wrong, because happiness isn't a feeling. If I said, describe Thanksgiving dinner, and you talked about the smell of the turkey, I'd be like, yeah, Craig, no. That's not going to fill you up. It's evidence of Thanksgiving dinner. Your feelings are evidence of happiness. Real happiness is an actual neurophysiological phenomenon. And that's important to understand. It's a combination of enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. Those are the three macronutrients of happiness. And when you're going for a feeling, I mean, your feelings don't exist to give you a good day. Your feelings are signals of what's going on around you. And if you're simply hoping that tomorrow I'll feel happier, you're going to be going for a vapor, and you're never actually going to find it. Now, second question is why it's getting harder.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is actually this new book that we're talking about, The Meaning of Your Life. The reason is because since about 2008, people have found their lives lack meaning. And that has everything to do with the way that we've been living in a new way, the way we've been engineering our lives, the way we've been glued to our devices. In point of fact, people have started to use their brains wrong. That's made it impossible for them to find the meaning of their life. And that's why happiness has declined.
Using our brains wrong, how?
So our brains, I mean, it's funny because, as I tell my students, psychology is biology. I have this big class that I teach at the Harvard Business School. I have 180 students and 400 on the waiting list for the Science of Happiness seminar. It's really, really popular, right?
Tells you a lot about where we are.
I like to think it's the milkman, but it's actually the milk. They want that. They want the subject. They want to learn, and because they're not happy enough, and they want to be happier like all human beings. And when I talk to them about the psychology of happiness, I say the first thing you have to understand is psychology is biology. Your brain is a real deal. And if you use it wrong, you're going to suffer. Here's how to understand it. Your brain has two halves, hemispheres, the right half, the left half. Turns out they do different things. Now, when I was a kid, everybody thought that you had sort of the artsy side and the math side.
Right.
My dad was a mathematician. My mom was an artist. That's how I grew up. So I thought, which am I more like? Well, I was a musician, so I was more like my mom. But later I became a scientist, so I was more like my dad. All that's nonsense. The two halves do different things. The right half is the why half. It's the mystery half. It's the meaning half. It's the love and happiness half.
Okay.
The left side is the analysis half. It's the technology half. It's the what and how to half. That's the two sides of your brain. Now, you need both, right? So you say, okay, I love my wife, I love my kids, and I want to take care of them. Why do I love them? Right side. How do I take care of them? Left side. And they're working together all day long. If only one side of your brain works, you're going to be in trouble. Either you're going to have all why and won't be able to do anything, or it'll be just doing things and not knowing why. And you know where we are today with our technology and our hustle and grind culture and the engineering focus on absolutely everything. It's all left side of how to and what, and there's no why. And why is the meaning of life.
So how do we get back to the why?
To begin with,
how do we fix that?
Yeah, we have to recognize why it happened, how our brains work, and then live in a particular way. Did you know your grandfather?
No. Grandmothers, yes, but never met my grandfather.
Well, the reason I ask is because if you go back in time, you can find somebody in your own family who had a really meaningful but boring life. And I'll give you an example. I knew my grandfather, Charles.
Yeah.
My middle name is Charles. I'm named after. So Arthur and Charles are my two grandfathers. It's the reason I got a little old man name.
Yeah.
And people used to laugh openly at that when I was 5 years old.
That.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was
Here
like
comes Arthur Charles.
I know it's hilarious, actually, objectively. But Charles Brooks, I mean, I knew him. He was a preacher. He was a serious man. He was an academic. He was a professor. His father, Leroy Brooks, from Olathe, Kansas, married the sheriff's daughter, Mary Ellen. And I don't know anything about them, but I'm going to tell you one thing that Leroy Brooks never told his wife when he came home from work.
What?
I had a panic attack behind the mule today. Because it wasn't a thing.
It was not a thing.
Because his adrenal system was working the way it was supposed to, because his brain was working the way it was supposed to. He wasn't occupied every single second. Here's what we did, Craig. Here's the problem. We wiped out a really tiny annoyance in life and created a huge crisis. The little tiny annoyance in life is boredom. And we created the crisis of meaning that's destroying our happiness today. That's the problem of our time. And we always do it, by the way. I got a headache. Okay, here's an analgesic. I want a more powerful one. Here's an opiate. Here's an opioid drug, and 100,000 people died of drug overdoses. We do this all the time. We wipe out little tiny annoyances and turn them into major life crises.
We overcorrect.
We overcorrect, and we're geniuses at doing it, right? And so I'm going to wipe out loneliness. I'm going to create social media. And guess what? A generation of lonely people.
Yep.
As a result of the fact that they're machines between us and other people. And one of the classic things that we did was with our use of screens, our misuse of technology, is to wipe out the boredom of ordinary life, which good old Leroy Brooks had plenty of. And here's the irony. Here's the great irony. His life, moment to moment, was pretty boring behind that mule. But his life wasn't boring. And I talk to a lot of young people today, 28, 29 years old. They don't have any boredom moment to moment, but their life is grindingly boring.
You're right.
That's the problem. Why? Because they wiped out boredom and they destroyed the meaning. And that's what people are doing by the millions today.
It's funny you bring that up because my wife and I talk about this all the time with our kids. I've got a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. And there's rarely a day that passes where one of them doesn't say some version of, I'm bored.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
Right.
And you've got a video game system. You've got books. You've got a backyard. You've got a dog.
Right.
They don't even have social media yet.
Yeah.
But is it generational now? Is this something that we're going to be forced to endure? Or are we past the point of no return?
Well, kids always say they're bored. That's normal, right? And that's your opportunity to make them do chores. Right, it's like, you're bored?
I'm making my
Let's
kids
go clean the
listen to this
garage.
podcast.
Right, so they, and that's a normal thing for kids because they don't actually know how to regulate their emotions. They don't know how to regulate. The problem is when 20-something-year-olds are intolerant of being bored all the time. Now, life has moments of boredom, and it's an interesting thing about our brains. We actually are built to be bored. Mother Nature doesn't care if it's uncomfortable or not. What happens is there's a bunch of structures in our head called the default mode network that illuminates when we think about nothing and have nothing to do. That leads to mind wandering and self-understanding and meaning.
Creativity.
That's the reason that your best ideas are in the shower, because there's no phone in there, I hope. Because there's nothing else to occupy you. But if you wiped out that kind of discomfort, and by the way, there's this experiments by some of my colleagues at Harvard on boredom. And they bring guys into the lab, kids into the lab, undergraduates, because they'll do the experiments on the undergraduates because they'll do like anything for $20. and they have to sit in an empty room with nothing to look at for 15 minutes, except they get a little key fob. And if they touch the button, they self-administer a painful electric shock. That's all they can do, boredom or pain. Now, you know what they're studying, right? How often do they push the button rather than being bored? A quarter of the women shock themselves painfully, and 2/3 of the guys, which is kind of all you need to know about guys. Right?
They would rather endure pain.
Yeah.
Then be bored.
Then be bored. Then be bored. One guy shocked himself 190 times in 15 minutes, got thrown out of the experiment because he's like a freak or twisted or something, right? Because he didn't know, we can't study this guy. So the truth of the matter is that we hate boredom, but if we can't avoid it, then our brain works the way it's supposed to evaluate the why of our lives. That's when we evaluate the why of our lives, is when we're inadvertently bored. So I have to give my students assignments to get bored. To go get bored.
What do they do?
They have to work out without headphones. They have to drive in silence. They have to take a 1 hour walk, half of that time before dawn, the other half after dawn.
Yeah.
For all kinds of neurophysiological properties, your brain works better when you actually see the sunrise. It's one of the things that I teach. Without headphones, without sound, in the space of your thoughts. And within 2 weeks, they start understanding, yeah, I don't like the boredom, but I sure like what it's bringing me. And they start to become alive again. We don't have a permanent problem unless we don't figure out these devices, unless we don't figure out the culture of constant stimulation. But every single person watching us here can find the meaning of their lives. No, can put themselves in the space where their brain works right so the meaning of their life finds them.
Part of what I'm hearing is we got to put down the phones.
Yeah.
We've got to get off social media. We've got to stop doom scrolling our way to sleep every night.
Yeah, you can use social media, but you have to use it mindfully, not mindlessly. So when you're at the light and the light's lasting a long time, you don't pick up your phone. Maybe somebody's texting me. No, they're not. And who cares?
Right.
Maybe there's some notification on X, on Instagram. You're just trying not to be bored because you don't like that feeling, but your brain actually needs it. So it's great. Social media is awesome. You can connect with other people. It's a great thing.
Yeah.
Unless it's mindless.
But do you think part of the reason that we are where we are is because some of those apps and platforms were designed to deliberately be addictive?
You know, I don't think that there was a malevolent force going through Silicon Valley saying, let's addict all these people.
Yeah.
What they were doing is they were saying people spend more time in the app when we do this thing. That's all it came down to. No, of course, that's related to the fact that we use all kinds of things addictively. They weren't trying to create a doom loop where I'm bored, so I pick up my phone. And then I'm more intolerant of boredom, so I stay on my phone. And by the way, that's how alcoholism works. You're bored and lonely or anxious, so you drink too much.
Yep.
And then it comes back with a vengeance, and so you drink more, and there's escalation, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
That's how all addictions work, right?
Drugs.
That's really important. That's why your glass should be half full and not completely full.
That's right. That's what. Look at you bringing it back. I
Nice.
love that.
Well, the branding is important. Here,
It is.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that we keep in mind. I don't think anybody did it on purpose. And together as a society, we got to figure it out. It's in the interest of social media companies to figure it out too.
What is one thing that people who are watching or listening right now, what's one thing they could do every day to help themselves find the meaning of their lives? See, I brought it back too.
Yeah, nice,
Yes.
nice. So this book is fundamentally about not just about problems, it's about solutions. This is a 6-part plan to find the meaning of your life in 6 months that everybody can do. And basically it's like live more like Leroy Brooks. Live more like the old man is what it comes down to. But that's not easy.
No.
Because that's not, I mean, Leroy didn't have to think about it. He's like, honey, I'm going to go find the meaning of my life. It's like, what's going on here? We got an existential crisis on our hands. No. He just lived his life. We have to do it on purpose is what it comes down to. Now, to start that process, you got to get clean. You got to get clean. And there are 3 things that you do if you're addicted to anything, by the way. Number 1 is you get mad. Number 2 is you detox. And then number 3 is you actually learn to be comfortable in your own head. So if you're talking to somebody who's detoxed from drugs, and you and I have both met people who've been addicted.
My father.
Did he get clean?
Oh God, yeah.
That's great.
And by the way, not only did he get clean, like he's somewhat evangelical about it.
Yeah.
Like he talks about, but it's interesting you bring that up because I remember my dad was, gambling, booze. Just he had myriad addictions.
He had an addictive brain.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. But when I went to visit him in rehab down in Statesboro, Georgia, he'd been there for 10 weeks at that point.
Right.
As soon as I saw him, as soon as we hugged, I knew he was a different human being. And he talked a lot that first visit about how he had been thinking for 40 years and how he had learned through group therapy and individual therapy that what he had was a disease.
Yeah.
And he had managed
it's
to
actually more
overcome
like
it.
a possession.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a spirit. It's kind of like a bad spirit for a lot of people. And that's the reason that depression was always called in the old days the noonday demon.
That's what it was called.
Because it feels like a possession. You know, when one of these things actually comes over you, it feels like it actually possesses you in a particular way. And the first thing that you have to do is you better get mad. You better get mad at how you've been living. You better get mad at the fact that, you know, you've had friends who've been leading you astray. You got to get mad. Then the second thing you need to do is to actually break away, understand how your brain works and break free of these addictions with particular protocols, which is what you're going to do if you're trying to stop drinking, you go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And last but not least, you need to get comfortable with your brain. Then you need to live in a new way. And so that's what this book is really all about. So the first step is, okay, get mad. Second, here's the detox protocol, by the way. With your phone, you don't have to throw it in the ocean. We don't have to do that. We just have to live in a way that we manage the device and the device doesn't manage us. And it's really just three things. It's pretty simple, actually. Number one, no phone for the first hour of the day. First hour of the day. That's when you're cognitively programming your brain. That's when your brain is getting ready for the whole day. So if you want to break any sort of habit, the first hour is the most important hour of the day.
Okay.
Because you've been fasting from that thing, ideally. I hope you're not looking at the thing at night, or you don't wake up in the middle of the night and smoke a cigarette, typically.
No.
If you don't smoke the first hour of the day, your chances of not smoking the rest of the day go way up. That's the most important thing. So the first hour of the day. Second, meal times. No phones even on the table during mealtime. What'll happen is that you're chemically bonding to people that you're eating with. We're evolved. Homo sapiens are evolved. And until only about 10,000 years ago, all of humanity lived in bands of 30 to 50 people that were related and at kin-based hierarchical groups, right? Until very recently, and some people still on the planet live this way. And the result of it was that we would communicate with each other as kin, and our brains would link to each other, especially when we're sitting around a campfire putting like yak meat into our mouths, right? Yeah. Just like we're talking here, which is eliciting a neuropeptide called oxytocin. That links us as people. And when it's your kin, when it's your kids, when it's your wife's like, shh, you'll cut that by just having the phone on the table. You'll look at the phone, you'll be like, I wonder if anybody texted me. And that oxytocin flow turns off like a switch. So that's number two. Number three is last hour of the day. So you need to put the phone away an hour before you go to bed in a locked closet downstairs.
Locked closet downstairs. That's hardcore.
Someplace far away. But you know, I have a closet that I plug my phone in. It's a different floor than the bedroom. Now, I can sleep with my phone now. I'll never look at it because I'm in the habit. Yeah. And the habit is really what it comes down to. But have it far away from you starting an hour before. Part of it is just because the blue light will wreck the architecture of your sleep. It just makes it hard to sleep. You know, you won't get natural melatonin in your brain and all that blue light stuff. But more importantly, you're going to ruin your relationships, and you're going to be thinking about something you shouldn't be thinking about as you get ready to go to bed. Those are the three things. You do those three things, you're going to detox. That's the bottom line. You can do more. I mean, if I could have my way, there wouldn't be a single phone in a single classroom from kindergarten through PhD, man.
Amen. But there does seem to be a movement afoot.
Yeah, but 27 states still have unlimited phone use in public schools.
Do you see that pendulum swinging?
I do, because of Jonathan Haidt. Have you had him on the show yet?
Yes.
John Haidt is a visionary. He's literally the most visionary social scientist in the world.
Well, I mean, I think you guys are kind of right
there. Man, I'm just drafting behind that guy. I mean, if he's talking about something now, everybody's going to be talking about it in 2 years.
You were a bit of a prodigy. I don't know if a lot of folks realize that you were playing the violin at 4, the piano at 5, French horn at 8.
You did your background. Of course, you're a veteran journalist.
That's literally what they
Fortunately,
paid me.
there's no scandals in my past.
That we know of yet. I mean, if there are any, feel free to share. How do you think that your introduction to music at such an early age, and a love of music, clearly, how did that shape what you've become?
One of the things that I often reflect on is that everything in life is easy when you're not holding a French horn. It's hard. It's a hard life. And that's all I did. But really what it brought me is the same thing if I were a really accomplished athlete. You know, I've had a couple of really long conversations on Shawn Johnson's podcast. Mm-hmm. You know Shawn Johnson, the gymnast? She's phenomenal, smart, nice, great, awesome. And her husband, Andrew East, who is an NFL player. They're good at everything they do because they know how to be good at stuff. Because when they were kids, they were just doing it. And that's what classical music is all about too. I'm completely confident I can learn what I need to learn about what I want to get done. Because I know how to get good at stuff, is what it comes down to. Which is how I became a scientist, and then I was a CEO, and now I do what I do now, which is traveling around talking to audiences about love and happiness. By the time I was an adult, of course, I didn't feel like such a nerd because I was playing in symphony orchestras, and everybody was a nerd. So it was nerd culture at that point. But that discipline was important. The second thing is I'm really comfortable in public. I'm just really comfortable in public, so I can talk to 10,000 people, and my heart rate won't be elevated. because I've done it all before. I've done it since I was a kid, is what it comes down to. And if you've got those two things, you can get good at anything, and life, social life and public life doesn't make you nervous. You got a huge leg up in a lot of things you're going to do.
10,000-hour rule. I mean, it sounds like something akin to the
That's
10,000.
how mastery works.
Yeah, you just do something over and over and over.
And I'm sure you felt the same way in your journalism career. It just weirdly got easier, right?
Yes.
I believe my holy vocation is to lift people up and bring them together in these bonds of happiness and love using science. I think this is what God put me on earth to do, actually. But it made it a lot easier having that first career. Wow.
You mentioned God. Let's talk about that for a moment. Talk about your faith and how that informs all of the work.
Yeah. So as a social scientist,
does it? I don't want to be
it does a
presumptuous.
lot. It really does a lot. And part of the reason is because my Christian faith is super important to me. It's the center of my life. And that's unusual for a social scientist, actually, because social scientists at the university level say, I teach at Harvard. What do you teach? I teach behavioral science. And I'm a Christian. Weird, right? And the reason is because most behavioral scientists think of religion as a socially constructed deal. So we can deal with the terror of life or something like that. But I see it very differently. And I was brought up in a religious home. Were you?
Very much so. My late brother was a Baptist minister.
Is that right? Which flavor of Baptist?
The kind of flavor that kept you in church for about 3 hours every Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah.
In South Carolina.
Old
without air
Testament.
conditioning? Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. So, yeah, and I was raised in an evangelical family, and I converted to Catholicism as a teenager as a form of adolescent rebellion. I know.
That was your rebellion.
Yeah, my parents were like, I guess it's better than drugs. Man, I was a nerd through and through. But my dad was a scientist too. My dad had a PhD in biostat, and he was a very distinguished professor. And the most brilliant man I ever met was my dad. And my dad was serious about his faith. And I asked him about that one time. I said, what's the tension between faith and reason, right? I mean, they're kind of a tension with each other, right? He said, no. He said, if I were an art historian specializing in Picasso, I'd want to know all about Picasso's paintings. I know all about the brush strokes, and but I also want to know an awful lot about Picasso the man, about the history and his relationships and what he was thinking. But I could look into a Picasso painting for the rest of my life and find no evidence of Picasso the man because he's not in the paintings. You need to know both, and it's a different way of understanding the two. If you want to be a truly great intellectual, he said, you need to know the artist and the art. You need to know the creation and the creator. And that had a big impact on me.
I wrote down a few curiosities, as I call them, about you. Some fun questions. Or at least they were fun when I came up with them.
All right.
When was the last time that Arthur Brooks changed his mind about something important?
Yeah, a lot, very frequently. And the reason is because the science is changing all the time. And I have a science-based approach to happiness. I'm not a dogmatist. The empirical truth, the data are more important than my theories as far as I'm concerned, because I want other people to be happier and I want to be happier too. And so what'll happen a lot is that I'll be reading something and this is the latest thinking, and then it will change based on new research. And I have only one choice, which is to change my views. I'll give you a classic example.
Yeah, give me one.
I do a lot of stuff on personality. And one of the key dimensions of personality is extroversion and introversion. Carl Jung, with Freud, they come up with this idea of introversion and extroversion. One aspect of personality, really important one, right? You're super extroverted, but I don't actually know that unless you and I went to a party together and I saw your level of energy after the party. If you're more charged up afterward, you're an extrovert. If you're really, really, really tired, it means you're an introvert who knows how to be an extrovert because you're a TV star. That's how I would know.
Sounds like you've read me pretty well in just 45 minutes.
Well, I know we'll see how tired you are after this interview.
After this one, I'll actually be pretty jazzed up.
Yeah. But parties and really social events.
So what are you?
I'm an extrovert. I'm really an extrovert.
So after a party, you're still amped up.
I can't go to sleep. I'm at the 96th percentile in extroversion. And my brother, by the way, whom I love and whom I've admired my whole life, he's more introverted. And just the two of us, the boys. And in the car, when we were kids, we'd be in the back seat. And my brother would be talking. My dad's like, I can't hear you. And I start talking. He's like, keep your voice down. And that's a classic way of understanding this. But for the longest time, what I had noticed in the research, I hadn't done the research personally, but I'd seen it again and again and again, is that introverts and extroverts are different with respect to their happiness, but they have different techniques for it. And then only about a year ago, a colleague of mine who teaches at Columbia, he started sending me papers saying, you got to stop saying that. He says, it turns out that extroverts have a huge advantage in happiness. And he started sending me these particular papers. And so I had to change my views on introversion and extroversion. And I have to talk about it a little bit differently than I did in the past. Because, it doesn't matter what I think. What really matters is the truth. And I got to update what I think to the truth.
Well, that's what should matter.
If we were better as a people, I think that we would all do that a little bit more. A little bit, what we call that in my world? Epistemic humility.
I've never heard the term.
Yeah, we have to have a complicated term for it because that's how we get tenure.
What is epistemic humility?
That's just intellectual humility. That's just like you think all these things and you're a big fancy college professor and you got all these theories and all that. If the data come in and say your theories were wrong, you need to update your theories.
A lot of folks who could probably update their theories. All right, I've got a few more curiosity questions here. Your own happiness on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, in this moment, 10 being the highest.
Well, in this moment or this part of my life? Because this moment right now with you,
12.
It's really high.
Okay.
Because we're in the zone, man. This is what I was born to do, is have this conversation.
But clearly, to your point, God put you on this earth for it. Because not this time, whatever, I get to talk to a lot of interesting people literally every day.
Yeah.
I have found the last 40 minutes to be the most exciting 40 minutes of conversation I've had in weeks.
Super fun.
And you do this. This is like literally what you get paid to do.
It's just, I can't believe it. So the point is basically this. So at this particular moment, I'm in the zone and I'm in bliss.
Okay.
In this part of my life, my happiness on a 1 to 10 scale, and by the way, there's a whole scale called the Cantrell's Ladder, named after a researcher, that basically says, how do you know your number? Well, 1 is the most miserable SOB you know, and 10 is the happiest person you've ever met. All things considered in your life, not in this exact moment, but right about now, what's your number? And people can give a very, very accurate self-evaluation of their happiness when they do that. When I started this work, my number was 3.5. Now my number's 6, going up. I've had a 60% increase in my happiness because I study happiness and because I share it with others.
What do you think most people are?
I know most people are about a 7. And so in the United States, on that 1 to 10 scale, people are about a 7, a little bit over a 7. My wife's over 9. And so some people are really, they're just, they wake up and they're like, it's a great day. Like, it's so annoying.
You know what? My wife's like that too.
Yeah.
Is there a correlation between income and happiness?
Sort of. And so what you find is that money can buy happiness at very low levels because it eliminates sources of misery. So here's the key thing to think about. Happiness and unhappiness are not opposites. The emotions associated with happiness and unhappiness are produced in different parts of the brain. Unhappy sensations and feelings are largely on the right side of the brain, which is one of the reasons that suffering helps you understand the meaning of your life. And if you try to eliminate it, and which is what a lot of people are trying to do by looking at their devices and staying distracted, right? And so what we find is that a little bit of money, it lowers sources of misery and unhappiness up to, $65,000, $70,000, $75,000 a year. And then it really flattens out. And so people make a mistake. They're like, oh, I feel better. Money bought happiness. And they chase that for the rest of their lives. They're making a ton of money. They're making $700,000 a year. It's like, yeah, but $800,000 a year, I'd be even happier. Yep. And then they get to $800,000, they're like, I still don't feel it. I guess I needed $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that the studies show that the right amount of money, which is you ask people, how much would you need to have enough? Yeah. It's always 40% more. You make $1 million a year, 1.4.
And it doesn't matter what you make. It's
$2 million a year is 2.8 more.
That's fascinating.
But if you use it right, the reason is because people use it wrong. There's 5 things you can do with your money, right? You can buy stuff.
Yep.
You can buy experiences. You can buy time. You can save it, and you can give it away. You got to do one of those things. Even if you don't make a decision, it's going to be one of those things, right? If you buy stuff, it won't bring greater well-being. After a certain point, after you've gotten rid of sources of misery like caloric problems and health and enough housing and living in a safe place for your kids, more stuff, more watches, more cars and all that just wears off just like that, right? And all it is you're worried about somebody stealing your car. There's somebody bumping into your Ferrari or something like that. So you're parking 9 miles away from the Walmart because you don't want somebody to scratch your car. That's a heck of a way to live. But if you spend it on the things that Mother Nature doesn't tell you to do, see, we peacock with our money, right? It's like I want to see people. I want people to see the yellow Lambo, right? Oh man, then I'm going to be really happy. And they're not looking at they're looking at the Lambo and going, "How would I look like inside the Lambo?" I mean, it's nuts. But we always think that because our brains, which were formed in the late Pleistocene, they're the same as they were 250,000 years ago, make us want to rise in that little hierarchy by having more spearheads and buffalo jerky and animal skins in our cave. That's just yellow Lamborghinis at this point and watches. You don't need 5 watches. I'm a watch guy. No, that's dumb.
Sounds like you've been talking to my wife.
How do you
tell you to
spend
say
it?
that?
The way that you don't think is going to bring you happiness, but always does, is number 1, spending it on experiences with people you love. Number 2, buying time, paying somebody to do something so you have more free time, but using it in like edifying experiences by yourself or with people that you love. Don't scroll Instagram while somebody's cutting your lawn, right? Number 3 is saving your money, because that's an investment in your own future. And boy, oh boy, does that give you a sense of progress and purpose.
Yeah.
Saving your money gives you so much purpose. And debt is the worst. Never, 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 never get into debt if you can avoid it. I don't care. Pay off your mortgage early. I don't care how good your mortgage rate is. The less debt you have, I'm here to tell you, the happier you're going to be. The happiest person has $0 in debt. And the last is giving your money to things and causes and people that you care about. You can do those 4 things, you can buy happiness.
Yeah. What's one moment that Arthur Brooks is still chasing? Or is there?
You know, it's funny. I always thought, so what's the moment? I work a lot with strivers. By that, I mean high achievers who were identified as gifted and hard workers when they were young. You know? I know what it was like when you were a little boy. Part of it is because that's what I was like when I was a little boy. But you were identified as a gifted child and really a hard worker and good at what you did. And that's great. And thank God for our parents, for your mom who made that possible. But there's a problem that comes in that life, and it's the following. Your little brain learns that you get love and affection and attention when you do an extraordinary thing. You bring home straight A's on your report card, remember that? When you actually do the oratorical competition and you win because of that sonnet from Shakespeare that you memorized. And for some people, it's making pitcher on the baseball team or first chair in the orchestra. And your little brain records the following message. Love is earned. Now, you and I are Christian men. We know that's wrong. Love is not earned.
No.
Love is a free gift, freely given, or it's not real at all. It's a grace. But if you learn that when your brain is synaptically plastic, that little prefrontal cortex is wiring itself up, you're going to try to earn love the rest of your life. And so what strivers have in common is they're trying to earn everybody's love, earn the love. Am I lovable yet? If I work harder, will I be lovable? If I get more famous, will I be lovable? If I'm more beautiful, will I be lovable? And that's a real problem. And so for me, the moment that I've tried to free myself from by becoming a scientist in this area is finally being lovable, is finally earning my love. I can't earn my wife's love. She loves me. She would love me under all circumstances. Yeah. And your wife would too. And on your worst day, like me, you're going to try to earn her love, and all that's going to do is push her away. That paradox is getting past the moment that would never come.
I think that's a great spot to end on. I don't really have anything that was fantastic. I so enjoyed that.
Me too.
Is there something that
You're
we didn't
good
get
at
to?
your job.
No,
You're good at
you
your job.
are. I've read your stuff over the years, but reading your stuff and then talking to you about your stuff, you should go around the country and just do this.
It's most of what I do.
Just
I do
speeches?
125 of these a year outside of Harvard. Yeah, I'm every week, 48 weeks a year, I'm doing stuff. I'm not out every night because I have a family life. I live with my kids and grandkids. Because
wait a minute, and your grandkids?
Yeah, same house,
Was that
intergenerational home. We all moved to the same place. It's for the years I read that intergenerational living is the secret to solving the loneliness crisis in this country. That's how you do it. It's like everybody's like, get more friends, get more friends. True, sure, great. Living with family and close to family, that's really the key, unless it's involuntary.
Yeah.
Like if a junior is laid off and nobody wants to live together. And, you know, it turns out that your longevity is way better when you get older. Your health is better. You have better cognitive ability when you're older. That kids develop cognitively better if they live with 2 generations. That parenting is happier as long as, you know, the grandparents are not in their grill is the whole thing. And so I was reading about this and finally my kids who are just like old, my kids are like 1940s, right?
Can't imagine how or why that happened.
Well, two of the 3 are military, and 2 of the 3 got married in their early 20s, immediately started having kids. All 3 are traditionally religious, right? They're way more traditional than me and my wife. And they came to me and they said, like, okay, put up or shut up, Dad. You've been talking about this. We're going to do this or not? And so we all moved. We all moved to the same place, including 2 families in the same house and another one up the street. My daughter's still in the military. When she's done, she'll be living in the same area as well. We all moved. And I'm telling you, I can actually see the difference. I'm mentally more aware and on the ball than when I was 31 years old and I'm 61.
And you think that's because
It
you're
helps.
surrounded by...
Yeah, like my little grandson, Joey. I got 2 jobs, man. Jokes and wrestling.
That's it.
That's it. And just being Yayu, which is in Catalan, it means grandfather because my
Yayu.
wife's from Barcelona.
Yeah, you.
Yaya and Yayu.
Well, my glass is more than half full after this conversation.
I hope this is just the first of many.
Cheers. I hope so too, my friend.
Here's to you. Thank you for your work.
So there you have it. I mean, the book, The Meaning of Your Life, is out now, and it was a revealing conversation for me personally. I think we all struggle sometimes with finding happiness, sustaining happiness, and perhaps one of the reasons that we struggle with it is because we've been going about it wrong. I learned a lot, and I hope you did too. And this is when the folks upstairs want me to encourage you to download, share, subscribe, like, and drop a comment. I don't think you should do all 5 of those things. Maybe just pick 1 or 2. Anyway, until next time, hope you enjoyed this edition of Glass Half Full.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.